Today, 5th graders, we are doing Eureka Math, Module 1, Lesson 4. And as you know, we've been talking a lot about place value and about exponents yesterday. And today we're going to see how it relates to the metric system of measurement. Okay, Adi, let's open our math notebook so that we're ready to join the class. So we're going to extend what we know about place value and about exponents to see how it can help us convert units of measurements. Change things from millimeters to meters, or change things from kiloliters to liters, things like that, okay? First, let's talk about the problem of the day. So here in America, we have two different ways to measure things, okay? We have what's called the metric system, which is what is used all across the world. So if you've ever gone to any other country, when they measure things, they use the metric system, okay? We also have another system called the customary system here in the United States of America, and we're the only ones in the whole world that use the customary system. Today, we are not talking about customary. Customary is things like inches, feet, yards, miles, pounds, things like that. We're not using that, okay? Today, we're talking about the metric system of units. Write this down in your notebook, please, as I talk about it. In the metric system of units, there are three main units that we use to measure things. Liters are used to measure volume. Another word for volume is capacity. It's talking about how much space something takes up or how much you can fill something. Okay, Addie, let's write these words down. Another thing that we can measure using the metric system is length, or how the distance between 2 points. And we use meters to measure those. Okay. Last but not least, we can also measure the mass or the weight of something, and we use grams to measure those. So if I want to find out how heavy this stapler is, I could measure it using grams. Does that make sense? If I wanted to find out how much water I could put in this bucket, I would use liters. If I wanted to find out how far it is from me and the door, I would use meters. Does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up if you've heard these words before. Very good. Now, we can think of liters, grams, and meters as the basic unit, just plain, okay? But what we can do is we can add prefixes, words in front of the word liter, in front of the word gram, or in front of the word meter to make it a bigger unit or a smaller unit, okay? You've heard of these words before. For example, let me show you what I mean. If we're talking about grams, we're talking about how heavy something is, right? You could measure it using kilograms. Give me a thumbs up if you've heard of kilograms before. Very good. You could also measure it using centigrams or milligrams. These words, kilo, centi, and milli, just go in front of the unit. Okay, does that make sense? Now, similarly, we could have kilometers, right? We could have centimeters. Have you guys ever heard of centimeters? Yeah. Or we could have millimeters. Okay. Similarly, we could have kiloliters. We could have, see, so liters, right? We could have regular liters. We could have centiliters, or we could have milliliters. Have you guys ever heard of milliliters? Yeah. Okay. And so gram is here. Okay? Very good. So you can see that this is one unit. We can think of this like 1. Okay? Now, there's also hectometers, decaliters, and deciliters, but we don't use those as often. Okay? Let me just tell you the relationship. 1 deciliter is 10 meters or liters. Hectoliters are 100 liters. Kilos are 1,000s. Okay? Decis are 1/10. So if I took 1 liter and I cut it into 10 pieces, it'd be a deciliter. Okay? It takes 100 centimeters to make 1 meter. It takes 1,000 milliliters to make 1 meter. Now that I've told you this information, talk to the people around you. What does this remind you of? I heard a lot of people say this is the same thing as the place value chart because each adjacent column is 10 times bigger than the one to its right? To go from here to here, we divide by 10. To go from here to here, we divide by 10. To go from here to here, we divide by 10. To go from here to here, we divide by 10. To go from here to here, we divide by 10. And to go from here to here, we divide by 10. Another way to say it is to go from here to here, we multiply by And from here to here, it gets 10 times. From here to here, it gets 10 times. Okay. If this were a place value chart, where would the decimal point go? It would go right here, wouldn't it? In between the ones and the tenths. Good. You can use this trick to help you remember. King Henry died unusually drinking chocolate milk. The K tells you that's kilometers or kilos. Henry is hecto. Deca is died. Unusually stands for the 1 unit. Okay. Drinking is deci. Chocolate is centi. And milk is milli. King Henry died unusually drinking chocolate milk. While Henry died and drinking, hecto, deca, and deci are true units. We don't use them as much. The ones that you'll be using the most are king or kilo, the regular units, centi, and milli. Okay, those are the 4 that we use most often.